And we're on.
All right. Okay. So once again,
On.
this
Mr.
is it,
Grim
Deval.
Cutty.
The Grim Cutty. Oh man, seriously, we'll
Uh,
save that for another day. We'll try and
yeah,
watch it if you
yeah.
can watch it, right? If you got, and
Disney
it's one
Plus
of
has
those
got a few
movies.
things out, Disney Plus is, yeah.
It's one of those movies. You know what you got to do? You just do something else, and in the background have the
Yeah.
movie playing.
And just refer to it now and again.
because I guarantee exactly because there's going to be moments in the movie, right, where you're going to be
Mm.
like doing some shit, and then you're going to look up and you're going to see this the scary looking face, whatever it is, right, and you're going to be surprised. I reckon you'll be surprised about.
Mm. Hmm.
All right, so what's the latest?
Yep. So, okay. So we got a shout out this week. A couple of shout
Mm,
outs, actually. First shout out goes out to Ciel Noir 3. Always say to you, go check out Ciel Noir 3. Go check out her
yeah.
page, Instagram, really positive vibes, her health, fitness, and well being, and all that kind of stuff. Great pictures as well. But really
Yes.
nice person. She'll always chat with you no matter what. So go check out her page. And also go check out the page of Danny Satsias, dancer. I believe
Yes.
she's a professional dancer, and if you want to get involved in some dancing, go and check out her page on Instagram. She's always got these massive sort of dance groups going on. Looks like crazy fun. I know she's
Mad
into
fun.
yeah mad fun. I wish I could move like that. I can't. I ain't got that coordination. Maybe I need to check. Maybe I need to check out one of her classes. I don't know.
And
You know
until, but can they do the shake? Can they do the shake that
what
you
shape?
do, Deval?
I'm sure she can do it. The Harlem or the Harlesden Shake. I'm sure she can do it. Trust me, she can do more than that. But yeah, go check out her page, Danny Satsias on Instagram. But yeah, those are our two shout outs.
Brilliant. All right, Deval, let's get into movie news.
Yep.
And listen, look, here's a name that we've kind of spoken about a lot on the show. This guy's got he is behind so many different franchises, action, horror, comedy, you name it. This guy does it all. James Wan, I'm talking about, folks.
Mm.
So he just shared an image of production kicking off
Oh.
for The Nun 2. Now, listen, Deval, we weren't really that. Do you remember The Nun 2? It wasn't
Mm.
the best in the franchise, was it? In the Conjuring universe?
It wasn't the nun. It was lacking a bit, It was
Hmm.
lacking a bit. I think. I mean, last week we spoke about Sister Act 3 coming out. That's the nun I can get with. This
Exactly.
one, there was none of
Nah.
it. There was none
Nope.
of it in this
Nope.
in the nun one. So the nun 2. Do you know what? It can only be better. I hope
I
it can
hope.
only be
We
better.
hope. Well, check this out. So, listen, it's going to be coming out in 2023, and it's going to be
Mm.
the sequel to what we've already seen. And do you remember Vera Farminga's sister? She was in that
Yes,
one.
yeah, she done well in it.
Yes.
I did like her in it. It looks like she's her big sister. Vera has really passed on the mantle and shown her
Yes.
how to really be a really good horror actress. So yeah.
Yeah. So her name is Taisa Farmiga. So she's going to be back as Sister
Mm,
Irene, and she is called upon to investigate the murder of a priest in 1956
mm.
France,
Oh.
which seemingly has to do with the iconic demon Valak.
Ah, don't say that.
Do you remember that face?
Don't
That
say that.
that thing, the picture.
Mm,
Oh
mm,
my
mm,
gosh,
mm, mm,
crazy,
mm,
crazy.
mm, 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 mm.
So let's have a look. Oh, and it's going
Mm.
to be introducing the Invisible Man Storm Reed to the horror franchise. Do you remember that Storm Reed
Storm Reed. Is
from
that the actress? Storm Reed.
from the Invisible Man, Storm
Yeah,
Reed?
that's the actress. Yeah, she's oh, she's been in a few films. If you
Yeah.
see her face, yeah, she's quite. Well, I don't know how old she is now. She's young, but yeah, she's a good actress, up and coming. But yeah,
Mm,
she was in Invisible Man. She was the daughter of the brother, I think
yeah.
the Invisible Man's wife was dating or
Right.
something.
Okay, I
But
gotcha.
yeah, she's good.
Okay.
She's good. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Yeah. Well, so listen, we'll keep an eye on that one. Hopefully, there's some good things that come out of the Nun. So, Devout, I want to move on to kind of bit of MCU news. Check this out. So,
Mm,
Moon Knight. I mean, listen, look. Apparently, the critics really liked it, and there's kind of corners of the universe, of the real universe, where you know what, they like it, some are not sure about it.
Mm,
I was a bit not sure about it. It's got some great
mm,
things going on in there. But check this out: Moon Knight star Isaac, he was asked a question, and this is he said, he was asked a question about season two, what's going on, are we
yeah.
gonna have it? And this is what you had to say: all I can say is it is not the last we've heard of the system that is
Mm.
Moon Knight.
Is it the
This
system?
is the
What does
system
it
that
mean, the
is Moon Knight.
system?
So someone's gone out and asked him the question about Moon Knight, and
Mm.
he's turned around and said it's not the last that we've heard. And remember how, like, these TV shows, Werewolf by Night, Moon Knight, Ms. Marvel, they're all connecting up somehow
Yeah.
for something really big. So maybe not a season two, but could he appear in a movie,
Well,
in Secret Invasion or something? Or
there's things that he can appear. Remember, they're looking at maybe doing the moon. Was it what again? The Midnight Suns.
yes,
So he could definitely pop up in someone else's film or show. I reckon. I think Marvel is trying to still link things up and create a whole, well, not create, continue the MCU as it is in this new vision. So
yeah,
yeah, he'll pop up again somewhere. I reckon.
yeah.
I think he'll pop up
Blade.
again.
Some
Yeah,
people are
Blade.
saying maybe he could pop up in Blade and everything.
Yeah,
So
possibly.
yeah, we'll see with that one. But I just thought it was interesting because we haven't
Yeah,
heard anything about Moon Knight, but he's
yeah.
turned around and said it's not going to be the last time. So that's one thing. Now
Okay.
the other big thing, Deval, I don't think when we kind of recorded last week's episode,
Mm,
the news about all these delays came out. And let's just quickly kind of go through them. So Disney, they've now overhauled its film schedule. So basically, there's delays for Blade, Deadpool 3, Fantastic Four, and other Marvel
mm.
properties. So as part of the shuffle, Blade has now been moved from November the 3rd, 2023 to
Damn.
September 2024.
What? That's nearly
That's
a year,
one
man.
that's nearly a
That's nearly
year.
a year.
That's
Oh my
crazy.
gosh.
Deadpool 3, September 24 to November 2024.
What? Oh, hold on. That's only 2 months. Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, that's not bad, but
Okay,
check this
okay,
one out.
okay.
Fantastic Four has been shifted from November 2024 to
Mm.
Feb 2025.
Wow.
So just
Shit,
think,
man.
so 2025 for another, for the Fantastic Four, and we've got to get through. So that means the
Mm.
whole of 23, the whole of mate, that's like 2 and a bit years. That's a
All
long
these
time.
directors changing hands, and there's lots of things happening. All these moving parts,
Yeah,
and I guess they know
and
more than anyone just how much it's going to affect timeline of production, pre-production,
yeah,
post-production.
exactly. And then the other big one there is Avengers Secret
Mm.
Wars has now been delayed from November the
Mm.
7th, 2025 to May
Mm.
2026.
Till May. Okay. I reckon they're going to make the other one come out a year later because they were meant to be 6 months apart.
Yes. This is,
So,
and then
that-
there's still one more untitled project
yeah.
within all of that as well.
Okay.
So
X-Men.
yeah, it's a
X-Men
bit,
still hasn't been mentioned, so maybe it
yeah,
could be X-Men.
it could be an X-Men movie, could be,
Yeah.
but I mean, why do you, but you know what we said on last week's episode about, Marvel, churning, lots of kind of films out and TV shows out. Have they now realized that shit? Maybe we need to kind of think about where all
Yes.
this fits in, and like
Yes.
quality might be kind of dipping a bit.
Yeah. Yes, I think they have. I think the well, even though the shareholders and the money is still flowing in, still the reputation goes a long way, and the money will stop if the reputation takes a hit. So I think
Mm,
they've had to take stock, take a step back, rather delay and have a better product come out than rush it out and have it be shit. So I think I don't mind waiting. If it's good, I'll
yeah,
wait. I'll
yeah.
wait.
Trust me. Yeah. Yeah,
Mm,
good. And obviously they can tease us with kind of like, some, the Disney Plus shows. I don't
yeah,
mind, if they can kind of like throw in a decent Disney Plus show within
decent.
now and 2026.
Exactly.
We still got kind of like Mandalorian and
Mm,
things like that, and
yeah.
to look forward to. So yeah, if you're, I mean, look, on one side, yeah, you can be pretty upset about that, but on the other hand, think
Mm,
about maybe they're doing it for reasons like
mm, mm.
they're working stuff out. So let us know what you think about that one. And Deval, you've put an interesting one on here. What is this? Some
Yeah.
beef,
So,
mate.
have you seen on Netflix Top Boy? So,
No, I know what Top Boy is, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it
never
yet
seen
though.
it. It's decent. It's
No.
good. It's a good show.
Yeah, you tell me
It's
about it.
inner city London. It's like
Yep.
gangs, and it's all to do with like selling drugs and how the drug system works and the people behind it. The police are involved as well. So it's all about inner crime. It's kind of like the UK's version of The Wire, but maybe not as intricate as The Wire. But it's kind of
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. Kano is as a music artist from years ago, really great artist, and he's actually an
Yeah.
actor as well. He's a really good actor in this. Actually,
Yeah.
one of the standout actors in this show. But recently, it was reported that he had a really big disagreement with the way his storyline was going, and he actually stormed off set, and they had to like pause production for a while.
Is it?
Yeah, that's what the news is. That's what the little birdies are telling us. But for him to do that, he must have really been upset with whatever direction his character was going, because his character is well love's character. His character is, conflicted, and
Yeah.
he's a sort of he does bad things, but he means well. And I'm not sure what's happened in this next. But,
Could it
this would be the fifth season so far, I think. Yeah, I think this
could
is
it
the
have
fifth
been that they
season.
kill him off? Nah. Or
I don't
and
know.
he's like,
I don't know. Maybe they made a character do something that he believes the character wouldn't do, and it's gonna have a
mm,
negative impact on how people see that character, and I guess how they're gonna maybe that impact may have a negative impact on his career going forward. So maybe
yeah.
he's really upset about it. But
Because yeah, Top
yeah,
Boy's on it's on Netflix.
yeah, it's the one that Drake helped to bring back because he
Yeah.
really loves it. And in Canada, they really love Top Boy, so it kind of like helped to boost the profile, get some more money into it. There was a massive 7-year gap between season 2 and season
Damn.
3. So yeah, so
And
hopefully
there's
this will
another
come out
one.
this year.
Yeah, another one that's coming back is Gangs of London.
Oh, I was just gonna say, Gangs of London for me is
Yeah.
crazy good.
Mate, it's the
That's
the
really
raid
good.
guy.
Yeah, the raid. Gareth Edwards, I think his name is, who directed the raid. He's also involved in directing, producing this one as well. Season 1 came out in 2020, I think, just
It's
during
been a
lockdown.
while.
The fight scenes are crazy.
Yeah.
I've just started watching season 1 again to refresh my mind, because season
Yeah,
2
I'm gonna do that
is
as well.
coming out in about 10 days' time. So
Mm,
it's really
mm.
worth it.
Yeah, those are good shows, man. Good shows. I mean, and I know a lot
Yeah,
of the stuff that we speak about comes from out of America,
yeah,
but you know what, man? UK produces some good,
yeah.
hard hitting stuff as well. So, for obviously our listeners worldwide, check out
Mm,
some of that stuff. All right, okay, let's move on to new on streaming. Okay, so listen, Deval. All right, let's do this. Let's
mm,
talk about the finale of
mm,
She-Hulk. And I got to
yeah.
say one thing. This, for me, was probably the kind of, in its quirkiness, was probably the best of the whole bunch. Like the
Mm,
last two episodes was kind of like the best of the whole bunch because they took it in a direction which I was like, where the hell are they taking this? And it's pretty hard to kind of, it might be a bit hard to explain it kind of, for our listeners, but Jennifer Walters, her whole thing in the comic books is that she breaks the fourth wall and she actually
mm,
speaks to the reader. And in the
mm.
show, she speaks to obviously us, we're watching the show. And in this, they take it like,
She
s-
smashed the fourth wall, mate. She
mate,
just,
she smashes the fourth wall. She jumps in through the Disney Plus
mm,
menu system and
yeah.
then lands in the writer's room. I was just like, where are they going with this whole thing, man? It was but it was nuts. It
Mm.
was absolutely crazy, man. What did you make of it?
Yeah, I think a few weeks ago you mentioned that they had to reshoot some things, or they changed
Mm.
their idea on how the show was going to end. I think this is
Th-
one of the things they changed.
yes,
I
I
think this
think
is
a lot of people
exactly,
started. Yeah, a lot
yeah,
of people were realizing that. Listen, this isn't.
yeah,
It's not. It didn't have the numbers, or
yeah,
people aren't really engaging with She-Hulk, and
yeah. All the
there's a
test
lot.
screenings, yeah, I think they didn't
Yeah,
really
exactly.
sit too well. So I think this is
It's meta.
yeah, this is proper. I mean, it was. You're right. It was an interesting episode. I was like, what is going on here? Like, they've
Mm.
really jumped out into past the fourth wall, and she's going to try and speak to the writers, and then Kevin Feige, He turns out
Yeah.
to be a robot. I thought he was
Yep.
going to be like a architect kind of guy from the Matrix.
Yeah,
He was a
exactly.
robot, and she
I
was
thought exactly the same.
yeah. There was a couple of things that she did that was quite funny, and I think they kind of taking the piss out of themselves because
Yes.
her special effects. She was saying, "Oh, so should I change mid cut so that you don't see the
Yeah.
special effects? Have you got money for that?" And it's true. They know it to be true. So I like the way they took the piss out of themselves. They
Yes.
understand that we know the special effects ain't all that, and to see her change costs money. So that's why
Yes.
changes happen between cuts. So that was
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
interesting.
Exactly. And then there's a bit in there where she's on the floor and she's talking to Kevin, who's a
Mm.
robot, and she says, "Oh, and maybe we can get. When are we going to get the X-Men?" Like, and then she
Yeah, and she
winks at the
winked at
camera.
us. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. I thought that was all really, really
Mm,
cool. So it was, you know, the way it was going to be, the way it looked to me when I was watching it, there's going to be a big, massive punch up. There's going to be
yeah,
Abomination. There's going
yeah,
to be
yeah,
Incredible Hulk. There's going
yeah.
to be Titania. There's going to be this whole thing, and their whole thing was like, oh,
Stupid.
her thing was, yeah, every Marvel movie or
Mm,
TV show has to have this kind of big punch up. She goes, no,
yeah.
why do we have to do that? So they get it rewritten, and it kind
Mm,
of ends in a way in which is, decent for her as well. I thought it was really interesting. I thought it was fresh. I thought it was
yeah.
different, and it didn't make up for all the previous 8 episodes, but it was
Mm.
like, oh, okay, they did something kind of
It's
different
very
over here.
different. We've never seen this before in anything. Not
No,
even Deadpool's gone this far. So I do appreciate the risk that they
yeah,
took to do something different, and I guess it kept in the tone of comedy and all that kind of stuff. So I do appreciate it. Also, we've got Banner who introduced Scar, his son.
man.
Scar.
Right. So, what
That's
does this mean
crazy.
then, Deval? Tell us, what does this mean for like Bruce and him being introduced, like his son? What does it mean?
Well, World War Hulk, I think, had some sort of thing that had to do with his kids, or
Kid, yeah.
maybe they're not doing that. But it's just yeah, it's interesting. Who did he? First of all, who did he bang? How old is his son? Because Ragnarok happened, I guess 2015 was when he left Earth, and it's 5 years in the future now, so it's technically 2027. So his son has to be like 12 years old, is it, or something?
Yeah, 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 yeah. And maybe he aged in the blip, and
Yeah,
or something.
maybe he did that. Yeah, so it's hard to know
Yeah.
how old his son is, and just if he has does he have a human form? Was he always in Hulk form? I mean, these are the things I have to know. Who's the mum? Like,
Mm.
it's interesting. I need to
Yeah,
know these
I
things.
was reading it, and it was, yeah, someone. So when he get, so the whole kind of Thor Ragnarok, him spending time on Sakaar and becoming
Mm,
this gladiator thing, that is all. That's kind of
yeah,
like the plot details
yeah.
for Planet Hulk, and then
Okay.
he meets up with this kind of woman. They kind of like form a rebellion, and then they kind of get off the planet. They have a kid who's this
Mm,
Scar, but then what happens is, um, the wife dies,
mm,
and then Hulk blames the Illuminati
exactly.
for
Yeah,
that whole thing.
yeah, yeah,
And then obviously he destroys, and his
yeah.
son gets angry with him for leaving, and then
Mm,
there's this battle between father and son. But I don't know
mm.
how this is all going to fit in now. But we do need, could this be Marvel passing on the baton to a younger Hulk? Because Bruce Banner,
Possibly.
because
Yeah.
Ruffalo's not going to be doing Hulk for that.
They are making a younger team, aren't they? We can see
Mm,
that they are making some sort of new Avengers, and he could be part of the new Avengers. So
yeah.
possibly, yeah.
We'll have to
Mm,
wait and see how it all fits
mm.
in. But yeah, it 100% is definitely interesting.
Yeah.
So go check that out. All right, okay, let's do House of the Dragon.
Mm,
And again, another good episode, man. So
yeah.
you can clearly see Deval, the kind
Mm.
of the war is coming. That Aegon, the one with the eye patch,
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
he's
yeah,
a mean MF man.
yeah, yeah. And in the books, I think soon enough he'll put a ruby or some sort of gem in where his eyes supposed to be, because his eyes like sparkle, but
Oh,
he's like Damon. He's like because they say, I think Lord Varys and Tyrion had a conversation in Game of Thrones where they were walking by the sea and they were talking about Targaryens, and Lord Varys said, every time a Targaryen is born, the gods flip a coin. Whether the Targaryen's going to be like level-headed or mad, and it seems like
yes,
Aemon, or is it Aegon? I can't remember his name. He's going to
yeah.
be a mad one. He's got the most ferocious dragon, and the houses are splitting. You can see the dance of the dragons happening before our eyes. All the
Yeah.
kids are having beef. The mum and Alison and Rhaenyra's having beef. The
Mm.
dad, like he's pretty much gonna be dead. We can see
Yeah.
that. And once he goes, that's it. It's shit's
That
gonna hit the
is,
fan.
and then
Game
what I
of
loved
Thrones will
was,
start. Or House
yeah,
of Dragons will start.
yeah. So there was this kind of like a little bit of a truce, like, between the
Mm,
families, and everything is all kind of nice. And there's this really kind of tense scene at the dinner table where everyone's giving speeches, and then the
mm,
Aegon's there, and you think, shit, this is all going to end badly. And then at the end of the episode, there's a little twist.
mm.
And then now you can kind of see what Alison or Millicent, I can't remember which one it is.
Alicent, yeah.
Yeah, Alison. She's like, oh, right. Okay. So that's what you want me to do.
Mm,
So I heard that. What you just
yeah.
said, I've heard that. And now
Mm.
I'm
He
going
was
to just,
delirious. He was so delirious that he thought he was talking to his daughter Rhaenyra. That's
but
what it was.
exactly.
But it's the
And he
message
was talking
is
about
lost.
Aegon the Conqueror, like
Yes,
the first
exactly.
Targaryen.
Yes. So did you know what this happened in Game of Thrones? Once Ned Stark died, it really started, and that took until the
Mm,
end of season one, episode 9.
when
So
they chopped his head
expect
off.
something different. So expect something similar with House of the Dragon. Once Viserys, the king, once he dies, shit's gonna kick off. So this
Yeah.
is gonna get
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
This is going to get really good. And
yeah.
this is the last episode. What is it? Tomorrow, the last episode?
I think it's 9. I think there's one more after that. I think it says 10 altogether. I don't know if it was about.
Oh, right. Okay, so 2 more episodes
I
left.
think there's 2 more. I hope there's 2 more, unless I'm wrong. But it's ending soon. Yeah, for sure.
Oh gosh,
Mm,
man, that's really quick.
mm.
And also out on streaming, Devout, I've caught up with this, mate. I'm really, really, really
Yeah,
liking
yeah.
Andor. Oh
It's
man, so
decent.
episode 5 and 6.
Yeah, it's
So I
decent.
watched those, and there's so much tension. And and
Mm.
I thought to myself, hang on a second, this feels like a spy thriller, like, and then when
Yes,
I realized
yes,
this, it's
yes.
Dan Gilroy. Dan
Who's
Gilroy
that?
is the guy behind the Bourne films. Oh no, sorry.
Oh,
He wrote, yeah, he's either wrote the books or he wrote the screenplays for the Bourne
you
movies.
see?
And yeah, it just makes sense.
Tension, tension.
Tension.
Telling you,
Oh
man,
my
we don't need
gosh.
lightsabers all the time. We need tension. We need build up. We need espionage. We need trust and mistrust. We need to understand these characters, where they came from, why they're doing what they're doing.
Oh mate, and
That's what we
these 2
need.
episodes, I watched 5 and 6, right? And I was just like, oh man, this is great, great
Mm,
stuff. And yeah, like, all the players are in there. There's kind of like, some twists and turns that go on, and then
mm,
you just think, shit, we're going deeper and deeper down this rabbit hole.
mhm,
And who are the kind of the players, like, who
mm,
is actually kind of like working as a double agent and all this sort of
mm,
stuff, man. I loved it. Really, really good show so far. So for me, Mandalorian, Andor,
mhm, mhm.
um, and then yeah, and then
And
kind of uh
like Boba Fett or with the live action ones anyway. I know with the animations, I think the animations are up there.
Yeah,
Trust
yeah,
me.
you've said
But
that many.
yeah,
Yeah, you've said that loads of
mm,
times. Yeah.
but,
So
this is
after
decent.
Andor, what are we
Mm.
gonna get?
Well, animation comes in. So we've got the Jedi stories. I can't remember what it's called.
Hmm.
The Jedi stories. We've got the Bad Batch. Sorry, that's coming out as well.
Yes,
And then we're gonna
second
get
season.
second season. Yeah, then we're gonna get Mandalorian February 2023. So we've got a couple things in between that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, listen, look, folks. Seriously,
Mm.
take our word for it. You should be watching Andor. It
Hmm.
isn't like a typical kind of battles in space and everything. This
Nope.
is like real slow
Yeah.
burning espionage, spy thriller,
Mm.
high tense, high octane, like all that sort of stuff. So definitely you should be
Hmm.
watching it. All right, let's do new trailers. And Deval, I'm not sure if you saw this one, but this looks mad. It's by the makers of Westworld. And like
Mm.
how Westworld is this kind of like futuristic world within a world, and
Yeah.
robots and like AI, artificial intelligence. Well, this one
Mm.
stars Chloe Grace Moretz,
Yeah.
and in her world, she just seems like young woman. She's just goofing around, and she's with her mates and stuff. And somehow, I think her friend has built some sort of machine which hooks up into kind of like the
Mm,
Matrix,
yeah.
which is like another dimension where you can actually go into that world and become another character and
Hmm.
solve like mysteries and whatnot. It reminded me of Westworld, obviously. It reminded me of Ready Player One. It reminds you a bit of The Matrix. But yeah, man, this is a TV show that's going to be coming to Amazon Prime. So, man, I'm looking forward to this.
I think it may be out already as we speak. I think.
Damn.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it may be out already by the time this comes out. So this looks interesting. You're right. It's quite futuristic.
Mm,
It looks like a bit of a weird one, which is a good thing. So yeah, I'm gonna watch this. Amazon
yeah.
Prime. Can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. And this one that you put on there, I saw the kind of, I didn't see the full trailer, but
Yeah,
there's a creepy little doll in this. Is this
mate.
like a horror?
This is produced by James Wan, who we spoke
Oh, well,
about
there you go.
previously. This one's called Megan with a 3 rather than an E. And this is about artificial intelligence, which is probably the way that the world may be going in the future. Obviously, we've
Mm,
got lots of sort of non-physical AI. So you got your Siris, you got your Alexas, you got your Bixbys, you got all kinds of, you know,
Bixby.
you got your all kinds.
Samsung Bixby,
Yeah, I know.
mate.
I have to give that one a mention. You got all these artificial intelligences trying to make our lives better. In Megan, this is an android. So a little girl, she's had trauma in her family, and this android Megan is there to try and help her, support her, and be there for her. And produced by James Wan, this is going to be like something horror, like Elon Musk said. One of the greatest threats that we have in human civilization is AI. If AI
Mm,
starts to become aware and starts to, go against its creators,
like
anything could
Skynet.
happen. Exactly like Skynet. And in this movie, Megan looks twisted. She looks her face. They do it really good. She looks like a
It
like a
reminded
like
me
a
of the
doll.
Conjuring doll.
Yes, yeah, or like Annabelle kind of thing.
Annabelle, yeah, that thing.
Yeah. So the doll looks like a doll, but then it's moving like a human. I don't know how they do it. It's
Uh,
mad. It reminds me of Attila. Attila
the battle hunt,
battle
some,
battle
I know,
something.
yeah, the
Yeah.
animation, yeah.
So the doll's face is the Dolly, it's Dolly, but the human is running around. It's mad. It's mad. Ain't no Dolly Parton 9 to 5. Trust me, this is proper. This is mad. It's mad. Blood,
Oh,
all kinds of shit,
shit.
killing. Yeah, go. This is coming out soon. This is coming out early next year,
Mm.
Megan. So
So kind of like Chucky vibes,
January.
a bit of Chucky
Yeah,
vibes as well, right?
yeah, exactly. Bit like Chucky. Bit like
But
Chucky.
see, that's the thing, man. Like how your household, how
Mm.
connected is it?
I've got I've got all of them. I ain't got Siri, but I've got Alexa and I've got Bixby. I can
Yeah.
talk right now. My lights will come on. I can talk right now. My TV will come
Bixby,
on.
stop saying that.
I can do all
Um,
that. I can talk to my TV. I can talk to it all. But
it's mad, isn't it? But I
yeah,
think there's this, like, you can have your washing machine, you can
yeah,
connect to your washing machine, your kettle before you
yeah,
even get to the house, mate. You can have
yeah,
lights on, heaters on, TV on, you
yeah,
name it,
yeah,
music on, the whole
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Um,
Heated blanket, everything. You know
oh
what I mean? It's
man.
just mad out here. It's mad out here.
All right, listen, look, well,
Oh,
we'll
gosh.
see. We're not commenting on the future of AI just yet, but
Mm,
watch this space. All right, let's move on to anniversary corner. Okay, let's do this. So it only makes sense that we would go back to a Halloween movie, but this one is actually a bit different because this is a remake.
mm.
So this is where it gets really confusing, Devaldo. So in
Yeah.
2007, they did a remake of the original 1978
Mm,
movie.
mm,
So this is just called Halloween. So this one's directed by Rob Zombie. But here's the thing, Deval. When the current Halloween movies came out, they retconned
mm.
all of these other
Yes.
ones.
Yeah. So yeah, and there's a different person playing Laurie Strode. I mean, this is
Mm.
they really tried to re-energize it, to restart it. Didn't really work out. Got a 6 out of 10 on
Mm.
IMDb. The budget was 15 million, and it did make 80. So financially
Oh
done
wow.
well. Yeah, because people, I guess, they're going to be interested, aren't they, to see what
Yeah.
this is about. Brad Dourif.
Oh my gosh.
He's in it. The guy from Chucky, he just mentioned, the guy that voiced Chucky, who's
Yeah.
been in quite a few horror films. He's
Lord of
in
the
this.
Rings, Exorcist.
Lord of the Rings. Yep, that's right. So Malcolm McDowell's in it. But yeah, I mean, didn't do so well. But Yeah, this, like I said, directed by Rob Zombie, also co-written as well. But yeah, 2007. This is, so that, what's that? That makes it 15 years. Yeah.
Damn. And check this out. They
Mm,
did it. There was a sequel to that as well.
mm,
So it
yeah,
did enough for them to
it
kind
had to
of do a
be. Yep,
sequel.
the money came in. So
Yeah.
as we see, Michael Myers has been around forever. There's been how many films? About 10 Halloween films. The man's been walking around and catching up to people since flipping. He should be part of the Olympics. Man just walks and still gets there.
We're gonna get to seriously, we're gonna get to all of that stuff, mate. We're gonna get to all that stuff.
Yeah.
But listen, interestingly, the one person who's been a constant throughout all of these movies is the
Mm.
name of John Carpenter and
Yes.
Deborah Hill. They're basically being behind all of them, and they because he's the one who came up with the whole thing.
Yeah.
He
He has the
flipping did the
rights, doesn't he? I
music.
think.
Yeah,
Yeah. Then the
he
music,
shouldn't
everything.
give up.
Yeah. Mm.
He shouldn't give that up. So so that happened in kind of like 2007, and then there was a sequel in 2009. But listen,
Yeah.
fast forward to we're going to start getting into the kind of review now of Halloween Ends. But fast forward
Yeah.
to what was it? When did we start Deval? When did we start the podcast?
2018, the same year
2018.
Halloween begins, or what was it called?
Uh, yeah, Halloween Ends. No, sorry,
I just It's just
Halloween
called
starts,
Halloween.
wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh, it's just
Halloween,
called
just called
Halloween.
Halloween. Yeah.
So it was one of the movies. Remember, we started the podcast, and that was
Mm.
kind of one of the movies that we went out and watched. And for me, like I it is one of, for me anyway, personally, it's one of the funniest episodes of the show because it's Deval. just still, I still it gets me, man. It still gets me seriously. Him doing that, it kills me.
I got to listen
So
to
I
it
got.
again.
Seriously, and you know what? It was. What did we think? Like, so 18, so 4 years ago. What did we think of
Yeah,
the 2018? We thought it was okay,
it
right? We
wasn't
thought it
bad.
was,
Yeah, it wasn't
yeah, we
bad.
thought
It
it
wasn't.
wasn't bad.
Yeah, it gave you what you went there for, like killings and all that. People trying to run around, dates, people on date nights getting killed. It literally just remade it, and it done it quite well. So
And they kind of obviously brought back Jamie Lee Curtis. They brought the actual
yeah,
guy who played the
yes,
original
yeah,
um the original Michael Myers and everything. So that was all great. So
mm,
you and I, we watched the movie, we reviewed it, and we, had a laugh watching it. And there was a few funny bits. And the thing that made us laugh was the science of it just doesn't obviously make sense.
mm,
And listen, they've never once decided to explain, and they didn't have to do this. They've never once decided to explain how is it that Michael Myers is able to actually
mm,
be shot, stabbed,
mm,
run
mm,
over, like burnt, staked, like you name it. But this guy just keeps on coming back, and I
mm,
guess that is what the allure is of this character, right? The
yeah.
mystery behind it. We don't know what is possessing him, but
Nah.
this guy cannot be killed.
They kind of
So that.
touched on it in Halloween Kills in the sequel, that it's like as he kills, he gets strength, and it's
Mm,
almost like they mentioned that he's got some sort of evil spirit within him that gives him this ability to withstand all these attacks. Because you're right, it's not physically possible. But
yeah.
yeah, there's something. Maybe he is possessed by something, and that's what gives him that ability.
And it's funny you should say that because there's a moment in this movie, Halloween Ends,
Mm,
where he stabs someone, and
mm.
then he was like he was kind of like old. I was like,
Ah,
shit, he was getting old, right? And then he stabs someone, and then he starts getting stronger and stronger, and then he starts coming back to normal again. But listen, look, let's get into the movie. Halloween Ends. This is obviously a regular for look at him, man. He's already making me laugh. And look, um, where were they going to go with this, right? Okay, so there was a couple of questions for me. Was, is this actually really going to be the end of Michael Myers, or is this going to be kind of, are they going to reintroduce a new character, and then maybe he then becomes the new Michael Myers, and then they're going to have like a whole new flipping, and a kind of like a Michael Myers type of a kind of character. So that's what I was interested in figuring out. So they introduced a new guy called Corey, and he's kind of like this, like kind of weird, nerdy type of a guy. He's a babysitter, gets involved in some sort of really tragic accident at the
mm,
beginning of the movie, and that kind
mm.
of follows him, throughout kind of his life and everything in Haddonfield, where this is all set. And what I didn't get though was Deval, Laurie Strode and her granddaughter now. They're still living in Haddonfield. Laurie,
Yeah.
she's writing a book about Michael Myers. She feels like as if the evil never dies. It's always
Mm.
there, and it kind of basically can consume us if we let it. The granddaughter is a nurse. The way that she falls in love with this new guy, what the hell? It's like, did he have like, I don't know, like what was it about him that she found so mesmerizing? I
You
was
see,
like, this.
they seem to portray these two people as damaged, and
Mm,
because they've been through lots of trauma in their life, it's almost like they were uh, I don't know, glamored into, or somehow hypnotized, not hypnotized, but they were like seduced into more trauma. And because
mm,
they both had some sort of joint understanding of trauma, they both they were lusting for trauma within themselves, and they sort of, yeah. So she saw the trauma in him, and she fell for it. He saw the trauma in her, and he fell for her, and
yeah,
together they wanted more, because he was chasing trauma. He wanted to hurt, like he was being bullied and he wanted to lash out, and she,
yeah.
like, he told her the things that he was doing, and she was fine
Just
with it.
she just accepted it.
Yeah, I killed someone, and like he's like,
Yeah.
didn't say anything. I'm like,
And then he was like, let's burn down the place. Like,
yeah,
is like kind of like a metaphor for like, let's just basically, who gives a shit? Let's just, let's go run wild and everything. And
mm,
so Michael Myers has been missing for the last 4 or 5 years and everything. And then we do kind of find it. And I was like, all right, let's get to the point. Let's get it. I want to kind of see where this Michael Myers is. And he's hiding in some rat infested flipping sewer
mm.
somewhere. And
Who's feeding this guy? How's he like surviving? He's mad weak because he hasn't
what's
killed
he
anyone, so
eating?
he needs to kill people to get strength, but he doesn't need to eat. Come on, man. Ugh.
And how is it that he let the old man like live, who knows that he's living down there?
Yeah,
He let
exactly.
a kind
Yeah,
of
yeah,
this beggar,
yeah.
this kind of like homeless man. He just
Mm.
kind of did that whole thing, and the homeless man just pulled out a knife. It's like what?
This film. Oh my gosh.
Oh
I thought they
man.
were kind of shaping this new guy Corey that you mentioned, because he's down and out. You know, he's got a family, but his mum's overbearing and
Oh gosh.
overprotective. His dad is very sort of meek and kind of soft and stuff, and he's bullied like left, right, and centre for how he looks and comes across, and also the accident that he was involved in, where a young
Mm,
boy actually died. So, that's his sort of introduction into it. And I thought they were kind of setting him up to be the new Michael Myers, because
that's what I thought.
he bumped into Michael Myers. Michael Myers dragged him down the hole and let him live. And then they've got like a funny relationship where he's like killing for him, or bringing bodies there for Michael Myers to kill, and then Michael Myers gets strength from it, and they're like working in partnership, going out killing
It's
people.
like
I'm
it's
like,
like
is
a
this going to be
tag
the new? Is this going
team.
to be the new Michael Myers? And they surprisingly named him Corey, which sounds with Laurie. I was like,
Oh
what's
yeah.
this? What's going on
It's
here?
just like a tag team. Like, they're
Yeah,
going down to people's houses and they're killing like, like the
yeah.
people. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then in the end, like, Corey then decides to kind of so there's a little bit of a twist. I thought this setting obviously Corey up to be the next Michael Myers, and
Mm,
they
mm.
passed the knife on, not the baton, but they passed the knife on, obviously to him. But then there's a little twist there, and then how the hell did Corey fight Michael Myers? Like, how is it that
Ah,
he was able to just push him off
he was
when
weak, wasn't he?
Michael?
Michael Myers was supposed to be weak, so he wasn't able to fight him. But Michael Myers, I mean, I'm gonna jump ahead to when Michael Myers actually came in. He had a one-on-one with Laurie Strode
Oh
in the
mate,
kitchen. I mean, she shouldn't. I don't. Yeah,
she
Michael
shouldn't be
Myers.
alive.
They kind of showed him out to be a bit weaker, but she shouldn't have had a chance. Once he had got
No.
his hands on her, she shouldn't have a chance. He stuck something in her ear. I don't know why he stopped. There's no way. Once he's in that position, that should have gone all the way through her head. There was a couple of times where he had her and didn't finish her, and then she obviously, like, she crucified him basically. I know spoilers, sorry, but
Yeah,
it's like she got the upper hand on him, and it just didn't convince me.
I
Didn't
know.
convince me. This film, like he was, the film was like they had, there's two different plot lines going on is it new Michael Myers or old? They
Old
mix them.
Michael Myers,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just
And then
I don't know.
at some point, I thought they were going to end up fighting each other. Right? I thought, hang
Yeah,
on a second, is there a point where Laurie joins up with Michael Myers to fight the new Michael Myers? And I was like, is there going to be some sort of shit like that? But listen, there was one scene I want to just quickly ask you. If you notice this, so they go into the two killers, Michael Myers and Corey, they go into like a doctor's house, a really lovely
mm,
house. There's a swimming
mm,
pool and everything like that, right? And in the end, they kind of, Michael Myers kills the actual woman. He's
mm.
got so much strength, right? Mind you, he's still got decent enough strength. The knife blade is probably about this much, Deval, right? So it's not a machete. It's not a machete. It's a kitchen knife. He was able to stab her. It goes through her body, but it's also enough for it to stick in the wall. How is that even
The
possible?
physics don't work with that. The physics just don't work. It's mad. It doesn't work. It shouldn't work. It's not possible. I can tell you that.
So I was like, right, okay. So then, like you
It
mentioned, there's this
looks
big
good.
part.
That's all it is.
Yeah, it just looks good and you kind of the whole thing. But listen, man, yeah, I mean,
I
is
give
there
it a
going to
four
be
out of
another?
10. I hope it
Yes.
ends. There's no post credits. After the film finishes, go home. But I mean, obviously, as you've seen the first two, if you've seen the first two, watch this one just to cap it off. But
Mm,
don't be expecting anything. This is just a whimper. It ends on a whimper. The second one wasn't too bad. First one wasn't too bad too. This one,
yes,
they've run out of ideas, man. Hollywood, man. Halloween is done. It's
it's
done.
done, man.
Done.
Seriously. What I liked about the second one was when the burning house, when he's coming out of the burning house,
Yeah.
the way he deals with the
He
firemen, it
chopped
just
down the fireman. Quick. That's how powerful this guy is. Ah, evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Evil dies tonight. Jokers.
And you know what made me laugh? It was the brother police officer who comes out of the car.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And,
yeah.
and in this one, at the end of this
Yeah.
one, he's like, "Not tonight."
You know.
And he with his hat, and he's there, and it's like a procession. It's just like, whoa, God.
Oh
It
my
was so
gosh.
corny. It was unbelievable, man. Really, really corny in this movie. So listen, look, I think
Mm,
you guys who are listening, I think you know exactly what we think about it. Deval said
yeah,
it, 4 out of 10.
yeah.
Um, uh, yeah, I mean, at some point they will do a remake, won't they? At some point,
Mm,
give it about
yeah,
another
yeah,
two,
yeah.
3 years time.
Yeah, I think so. Probably.
Um, but yeah,
Keep
they shouldn't, but I reckon they will.
mm.
All right, listen, look, Devout is 42. Shall we leave it or shall I fit it
Uh,
in?
yeah, fit it in. This
Yeah, let me
film's
fit
been
it
waiting
in.
for a while, yeah.
You didn't manage to see this, did you?
No, no.
No. All right. Okay. So listen, look, I went out and watched, it's been kind of a while since I've seen this, but listen, Fall is the movie that I
Mm,
saw a while. It's a survival thriller. So think about, remember 127 Hours?
yeah, yeah.
That's based on a true story where a guy gets stuck out in the wilderness basically, and
Mm.
he's got to survive a number of days out on his own, and he cuts his own arm, and then he survives, right?
Oof,
So kind of that, but
oof.
not a real life story. So here we've got what are the names again? So we've got best friends Becky and Hunter. They're
Mm,
climbing a mountain at the beginning of the movie, and they're basically adrenaline junkies. And the opening shot of the movie is like, holy shit, what the hell are these people doing? So there's
mm,
three. So there's Becky and Hunter alongside Becky's husband. So the three people, they're kind of climbing this mountain, and there's a tragedy that happens. So think about it. They're climbing the mountain, Deval,
yeah.
and there's a tragedy. What's the tragedy? You just know exactly what the tragedy is.
Someone falls or breaks a
Yes,
leg or
that they
yeah,
someone falls. So
okay.
so the husband dies, and then Becky,
Oh,
she is basically obviously grief stricken, as you would be. Her husband just died.
mm,
She's unable. She doesn't leave the house. She doesn't kind of like
wow.
you know she's not interested in basically climbing anymore, and climbing was her
Mm,
life. So a year later, her friend Hunter, who was on that kind of trip, she knocks on the door. She's like, hey, look, it's time that you got out. I've got the perfect solution for you
another
to
mountain.
I've got the perfect solution for you to basically just kind of like get away from all your woes. And, at first there's a bit of kind of resistance, but then Becky decides, okay, let's do it. And what they choose to climb, Devaldo, isn't a mountain, but it's based on a real life. It's the fourth largest structure,
Oh,
an antenna in the world, I think it was at the time. So
okay.
they've based it on that. So there really was like an antenna in the middle of the desert in
Oh,
like Los Angeles or wherever it is. This was filmed. They decide to climb this non-functioning tower, and mate,
mm,
when you see the tower, you're like, oh my God. And then I went online just to have a look and see what they based it on. And it is obviously
yeah.
incredible, like 1,700
Oof.
feet up in the air.
Serious. Ah, that's a
Serious
lot.
thing, right?
It's high.
It's very, very high. So two girls, they've got a drone, they've got a backpack, they've got kind of like a harness. Well, actually, I didn't even remember there being a harness. This is like kind of like a thin little rope.
Mm,
So they start their kind of ascent up to this whole thing, and they're having a great time. They're like, hey, do you remember this? And do you remember that? She's
mm,
doing like kind of a vlogging thing as well. And they get to kind of like a certain point, and the movie kind of racks up the tension, Deval. Like, something terrible is going to happen, just like these kind
mm,
of in these movies that happen, right? And things start flying off, and
mm.
there's vultures that are flying really, really high, and then slowly you see a close-up of a screw slowly
Ooh.
unloosening, and then a part of the whole structure starts to fall off, and then before you know it, boom, they're stuck right at the top. And then it's a game
Oh my
of
gosh.
basically a game of survival. Right, they're running out of water. The backpack fell on kind of like a satellite dish thing. There's vultures flying around. The vultures are basically trying to peck at them. So there's all this sort of stuff going on. And for the first kind of 45 minutes, it's kind of interesting. But then it just becomes so, right, get on with it. Like, you know exactly what's going to happen, Devaldo, even before the movie has even finished. It's just like, oh my God, it's so predictable. So all I'm going to say is, go into this movie, if you do end up watching it, knowing that it's going to be predictable.
Yeah.
There's going to be a moment in the movie where you're going to be thinking, shit, wow, this looks actually really kind of like interesting. Like, I'd like to see what happens. But
Hmm.
in the end, you're going to come away from it feeling really, really kind of like, oh gosh, I wanted to see more. So yeah, in terms of kind of rating wise, mate, I'd probably give it a 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, better than Halloween. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
say it's better than Halloween.
And lower
Uh,
budget probably. I'm sure it's a small budget
Lower
from the
budget.
sounds of it.
Exactly, lower budget.
Mm,
So, I mean, you're not going to go out of your way to go out and watch this movie. So, if it's out on Amazon Prime or comes out on
mm,
Netflix, then yeah,
okay. Okay. Cool. Fair enough.
it's one of
Nice
them
one.
ones. Yeah,
So it's The Fall. Yeah.
I think it's just called Fall.
Oh, just called Fall. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Cool.
just called Fall and everything. And then obviously there's a whole thing at the end of how they survive, or do they
Mm,
survive? I'm not spoiling anything,
okay.
but so you'll have to watch it. And Henry Dean Morgan, he plays
Oh,
the
he's in
dad.
it. Oh, okay. Okay.
He plays the dad, so
Mm,
he kind of turns up in there as well, which was kind of a bit strange. But anyway,
okay.
so there you go, Deval. That's the end of the episode.
Yep, there we go. So yeah, hope you enjoyed those reviews. Halloween ends and Fall, and also all the rest of the news.
Next week, mate,
Next week, what's next week? Next week, oh,
Black
Black
Adam.
Adam. Oh yes, Black Adam, man. Yeah, that should be. Hopefully, again, my expectations are going to stay, moderate, kind of
Yeah,
low. If it's good, then I'll be happy. If it's not good, I'll still live. It's
yeah,
cool,
exactly. And
whatever.
then next month, mate, we've got
Black Panther.
Black Panther.
Mm.
So yeah, October, November, and then
Hmm.
December, flipping Avatar.
Avatar. I'm sure I'm sure there's another big film. Can't think of what it is, but yeah, next couple of months is looking decent, and
Yeah.
there's films in between that I'm pretty sure are
Oh,
quite good as well
too
that we'll
much.
catch.
Loads,
So
loads, loads, loads. All
looking
right, well, keep
decent.
it locked with the Flixters,
Yep.
and
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Just pop in the Flixters podcast.